Is it actually worth dropping a car payment on a modern driver? Or are a lot of average golfers out there paying huge premiums just to hit the exact same slice into the exact same woods?
Today, we are putting the Cobra Fly-Z versus the Cobra LTDx. This is a direct head-to-head battle. Now on paper, the newer LTDx looks like the easy winner.
But for a ton of everyday players, this matchup is way closer than the marketing departments want you to believe, especially when value enters the picture.
Welcome to Golf Gear's Showdown, where we put golf gear head-to-head.
I'm Jake, your everyday 15 handicapper voice who absolutely hates watching guys waste good money.
And I'm Mike, bringing you the data and the specs. Today's explainer is all about finding the exact right winner for your specific game.
Picture this exact scenario for a second. You're standing in the used section of your local golf shop. In your right hand, you're holding a Cobra Fly-Z. It looks perfectly playable, and the price tag says it's a tiny fraction of the cost of a new club. But then, in your left hand, you're holding a brand new Cobra LTDx. You stare over at the launch monitor, you start wondering if the modern ball speed and the promise of maximum forgiveness actually justify dropping that extra $500. Look, that hesitation is completely real.
That is exactly why golfers compare these two eras of equipment. The newer driver is supposed to be better. That's the whole pitch, right? Well, we want to cut through the marketing hype. The smarter comparison isn't just raw distance in a vacuum. The real question is, does that extra money actually buy you something useful for your specific swing?
We're going to find out by putting these clubs through 6 crucial rounds. We'll cover distance and performance, forgiveness, accuracy and control, feel and confidence, price and value, and finally, golfer fit.
And hey, you'll want to pay very close attention to round 5. We've got a massive, surprising twist coming up in the price and value round that completely changes how you should look at buying used gear.
Let's dive right into round 1, distance and performance.
This is the category everyone wants to talk about first when they get to the first tee. Based on design intent, the LTDx has a clear edge here. Let's look at why that is without getting bogged down in fake numbers or marketing fluff. This club comes from a newer driver era where companies pushed extremely hard for speed across a much bigger area of the face. They entirely moved away from just focusing on dead center strikes. Engineers figured out how to push discretionary weight low and forward while simultaneously using complex face flex technology. The result is that most golfers report getting stronger overall distance with the LTDx. Even when your contact isn't absolutely perfect, the technology is built to retain that ball speed. You're essentially getting a hotter launch profile across a wider footprint.
I've got to challenge you a bit on that, Mike. Yes, the LTDx is technically faster, but the Fly-Z was an incredibly solid driver for its time. Honestly, it's still plenty long enough for budget hunters who don't care about chasing every single yard. Look, I'm a 15 handicap. If I had to drive 240 yards instead of 246 yards, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to break 90, not qualify for the US Open. If you put a good swing on the Fly-Z, the ball still goes plenty far.
That's a completely fair point for the amateur game, but we have to name a winner based on overall capability. The official round 1 winner is the Cobra LTDx for modern speed, though the Fly-Z definitely stays competitive for budget-focused players.
Let's move straight into round 2, forgiveness. Because, let's be real, weekend golfers aren't hitting the dead center of the face every single time. We need to know what happens when things go completely wrong. Picture the dreaded high-toe strike, or that weak wiping slice that you just know is diving straight toward the hazard on the right. Common feedback suggests the LTDx offers significantly more help across the face for the average player's mishits. The Fly-Z was friendly in its day, don't get me wrong, but the LTDx head is specifically engineered to keep those bad swings more playable. The moment of inertia, basically its resistance to twisting when you miss the center, is just visibly superior. It actively fights your worst impulses to keep the ball somewhere near the short grass. I agree completely. The LTDx is just the safer play if your miss is a heel strike or a severe slice. The engineering simply saves you a few penalty strokes. So the Cobra LTDx officially takes the edge and wins round 2 for keeping bad swings playable. But seriously, don't go dumping your older clubs in the trash just yet. Up next is the accuracy round, and what we found completely shatters the biggest myth in modern golf marketing.
Welcome to round 3, accuracy and control. We're talking about dispersion here. A lot of golfers chase distance and completely ignore dispersion. For plenty of weekend players, the best driver isn't the one that goes the farthest once around. It's the one that keeps more tee shots in play so you aren't constantly dropping from the rough. Stability on off-center contact naturally favors the LTDx. It preserves speed better across the face, which usually leads to a more consistent ball flight on a launch monitor.
Here's the twist though. I know guys who actually hit the older Fly-Z significantly straighter. Why? Because they're incredibly comfortable with this setup. Newer does not automatically mean straighter for every single golfer out there. The LTDx has that stretched out, massive modern footprint. The Fly-Z has a slightly more classic, rounded pear shape. If you like the shape of an older driver, you naturally put a better, freer swing on it. Staring down at a club you hate automatically ruins your tempo.
The psychological side of trusting an older club that you have gamed for years is massive. It's exactly like an old baseball glove. It might not have the newest synthetic leather or the most advanced webbing, but you know exactly how it's going to perform when a line drive comes at you. When you step up to the ball, your confidence dictates how freely you swing. The LTDx is likely the better consistency play for the majority. However, the Fly-Z may still feel easier to aim and trust for players who have used it forever.
I completely validate that point, Jake. The mental side of the tee box is half the battle. But we still have to award this round on technical physics and raw stability. So round 3 goes to the Cobra LTDx. But the margin relies heavily on a player's existing confidence with the older Fly-Z profile. Which naturally leads us right into round 4. Feel and confidence.
Sound, feel, and looking down at the club at address will alter your swing, whether you mean to change it or not. The Fly-Z offers a simpler, older school presentation. And look, sound is a massive part of feel. The Fly-Z has this solid, traditional, slightly muted thwack to it. Some golfers just strongly prefer that classic Cobra acoustic profile over modern clubs.
True, but the LTDx brings a highly modern, confidence-building cosmetic. Plus, it has that loud, powerful, carbon and titanium crack at impact. You look down at the matte finish and the aggressive branding, and you feel like you are holding a current piece of technology built for pure speed. That psychological boost is a very real factor for a lot of buyers.
I honestly can't pick one over the other here. It's entirely subjective based on your ears and your eyes.
I'm with you on this. We promised a winner for every round, and here, they both win, just for entirely different types of players. We're decisively calling round 4 a tie. The LTDx wins for modern confidence and powerful sound, while the Fly-Z wins for golfers wanting a simpler, old-school feel and a traditional strike. But stick around, because round 5 is where the money literally talks.
Now for round 5, price and value.
This is the round we teased earlier, and it's where the cheaper option punches back extremely hard when comparing new versus used. Here is the insider smart shopper move that 90% of golfers completely ignore. The depreciation curve on golf clubs makes finding a 5-year-old driver the absolute sweet spot for value. Finding a Fly-Z in good shape on the used market is a massive, massive value play. You're getting about 90% of the performance of a modern club for about 25% of the price. If you are trying to save money without dropping down to a poor-performing bargain bin option, it's simply one of the smartest budget moves you can make.
No debate from me. If you're a budget golfer, this is your absolute steal. You take the cash you saved, you buy a few extra rounds of golf, and you still hit fairways. The definitive winner for value is the Cobra Fly-Z. It takes the crown easily.
Knowing which club won which round is only half the battle, though. Coming up next, we're breaking down exactly which club fits your specific swing, from beginners right down to the scratch players.
Let's get into round 6, golfer fit and buying mistakes. This is where we assign the right club to the right weekend golfer. Before we assign those winners, let me share the biggest buying mistake out there. This is the one that makes guys think, man, I almost did exactly that. You drop $500 on a brand new LTDx, you peel the plastic off on the first tee, and you immediately slice it 2 fairways over. Why? Because you bought a stiff shaft when you actually needed a regular flex. Don't assume a shiny new head will magically fix your swing while completely ignoring your specific miss, your actual budget, and most importantly, your shaft fit. The wrong engine in a great car still drives poorly. Do not ignore the basics just because the tech looks cool. Let's run through a fast, honest pros and cons list. We show absolutely no brand protection here on Golf Gear Showdown. For the LTDx, the pros are massive forgiveness, optimized launch, and huge distance potential. The con, you're paying a very heavy premium for it.
On the other side, the Fly-Z. The pro is unbeatable used market value. The price-to-performance ratio is completely off the charts. The con? The tech is undeniably aging, and it definitely gives up ground on forgiveness when you miss the sweet spot by a wide margin.
Time for the final verdict of this explainer. Let's run through exactly who should buy what. For overall performance, LTDx. Beginners, the LTDx is your winner because of the massive sweet spot. Mid-handicappers, you're also taking the LTDx for the consistency. High handicappers, LTDx again, it will consistently save your bad strikes.
Jake? Seniors? I'm giving the nod to the Fly-Z. Pair it with a light shaft, save your money, and enjoy the classic feel. For fast swings, you want the LTDx to handle that aggressive speed. Slicers, the LTDx will actively help mitigate that curve.
Mike, distance seekers, the LTDx is hotter off the face, pure and simple. Forgiveness seekers, LTDx is the clear victor. But for the best value and budget buyers, the Fly-Z is your undisputed champion.
If you have absolutely no budget limit, obviously grab the LTDx and get custom fit. But if you are strictly shopping the used market for the best bang for your buck, the Fly-Z stands completely alone as the winner.
So here's the real question to close this out. Ultimately, the LTDx proves that modern technology does buy you a better margin of error. But the Fly-Z proves that the golf industry's marketing machine wants you to forget just how good the gear from 5 years ago really was. Are you buying a better game, or are you just buying confidence? Which driver are you taking to the first tee? Drop your handicap, your current driver, your budget, and your usual miss down in the comments. I want to see what you guys are actually swinging out there.
And get ready, because our next head-to-head showdown pits the TaylorMade Stealth directly against the Callaway Rogue ST. You won't want to miss that battle. Hit that subscribe button right now to lock